Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my 2 obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And literally everybody has sent me this video. I had friends, 3 different friends, text message me a link to this video all over my wall, all over my feed. Everyone's like, Jason, Cali Muscle admitted to using gear. Well, that's kind of like saying he also admitted that the sky is blue. I mean, it's like everyone knows this already. So it's kind of, is this really even news? I don't know. Let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing. Work on skill at my crafting a little bit. Let's talk about this. Now, the funny thing is that out of all the things in there, he wants to brag about his criminal past. And he goes in and starts talking about how in 2010 he was selling a lot of illicit substances and illegal substances, as he put it, and had a lot of money. It's like, Cali, man, you're snitching on yourself, dude. You're snitching on yourself in front of an audience of over 1 billion people, knowing that you've already being watched for other federal investigations. Don't snitch on yourself, man. Don't snitch on yourself. Don't do that. You know, it's like, you need to know, because there's still, people can find that stuff still. The feds can dig into your old financial records. Don't brag about it. He's snitching on himself. It's like he's almost like not afraid to go back to jail. He's like, lock me up, lock him up, throw away the key, throw away the key. I ain't afraid to go to jail. He ain't afraid to go to jail. I ain't afraid to poke another man in the ass. What man? Oh, I just fooled y'all. That was jokes. For those who don't know the reference, go look it up. Hilarious movie. That Cali should have starred in that one. But the thing is, he jumps up and he says stuff like, I was using stuff, back in 2010 because I had all this money, illegal money, to invest in something, and I thought there was millions and millions of dollars in bodybuilding. Man, I hope nobody out there is stupid enough to think there's money in bodybuilding. It's a reason all these bodybuilders sell their bodies for money. Also, if he had all this illegal money, why was he selling his body doing the whole Chuck Basher thing? I mean, Cali did the whole G for P thing too. And that's the hilarious thing. He runs around talking about other people doing gay stuff or behaving like women. And, we've seen all the photos and stuff out there, Cali. Man, you got no room to talk, bro. You got no room to talk. I'm not trying to judge. I mean, you do you, but, I'm just saying, let's not pretend that you did all that G for P stuff and all those prison stories that, you really are about women and a family. I don't know, man. Maybe he is. Maybe he's changed his ways. Maybe he went through some conversion therapy. I know that's a little controversial, but maybe he did. I don't know. I'm not one to judge that. It's not my place in this world. But the whole thing is, he jumped up and admitted to using gear. More or less admitted, saying, well, everyone knows in bodybuilding competition, people use performance-enhancing drugs. They all use them. It's common knowledge. And, I had a bunch of money to invest in 2010 to do some bodybuilding shows. But then he's like, I backed out of it when I realized that there wasn't any real money in that. And I went into acting and YouTube. And think about this, guys. That's 2010. He didn't start shrinking until a couple years ago. Right? He didn't start shrinking until a couple years ago. So even after this 2010, he was still using hefty amounts for the next 6 years. In fact, here's what we come back to. Look at the WFN fiasco. You guys remember that? Johnny Bravo put the interview up with Richard. We saw the stuff that Cali was shipped, that he took as payment for endorsing the company. It was a lot of stuff. All right, he's not just using a little bit. It's kind of like when he's admitting to using, it's like, yeah, that's like saying the sky is blue. But if he had said, I only used a little bit, that wouldn't be believable. Like, if anybody out there actually believes that, then you're naive. Actually, let me rephrase it. Anyone who's a fan of Cali Muscle and actually takes his advice seriously and is anything but entertainment, you probably are dumb enough to believe that he only used a little bit. We saw the shipping labels. We saw how much stuff he was getting. And Richard Rodriguez said in an interview from prison, he was greedy. He always wanted more. And he wasn't even living up to his end of the bargain. And he wanted massive amounts of product. Like, he just wasn't happy with a lot. He kept saying, I need more than this. I need more than this. That was only 2 years ago, guys. 2 years ago, he was standing there strong-arming the guy for more product. And he was already shipping him thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Thousands of dollars worth. It wasn't enough. So, again, it's pretty obvious that he was still using a ton of stuff back then. Now he's shrinking because he's come off, and people are like, oh, well, he still looks good. Well, he maybe to you, I guess it's bodybuilding y'all's thing, but you do know he's going to keep shrinking, right? Because it's been pretty dramatic in the last few months, and it's going to get more. And he's talking about, well, I want to have kids now, then that's probably a good idea. I'll actually agree with him on that. I think that's the one reasonable thing he said. On all this other nonsense, we know he's scared of getting popped. We know he's probably concerned about his health from all the abuse. We know that, again, with the WFN stuff, he's probably being watched. He can't have a bunch of illegal drugs on hand. It's probably not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. He doesn't want to talk about that, but that's what it is. He's afraid to go back to jail. He's got too much money and too much to lose now. He actually acts like he's all tough because of the past, but he's afraid to go back. He doesn't want to go back. Got too much to lose. And I can't blame him for that, but he doesn't want to admit that's what it is. Now, he talks about the kids, and that's actually reasonable. At this point, the amount of stuff he's used, if he doesn't come off and he doesn't go through like some HCG therapy, he's not going to be a daddy. He's not going to be a daddy. Not going to happen. But that tells us a lot, because we know he was on all that stuff. He's trying to have kids now. Everyone out there, y'all know what that means. It means he's on HCG, right? He's on HCG. And he's probably using a little bit of growth and other stuff, because we saw from those shipments, he sure likes FDA grade growth hormone, doesn't he? He likes it a lot. We should all be so lucky to have thousands of dollars of that stuff. So he's probably using that to try to bridge to help hold on to some of his size with the HCG. If that won't shut down his sperm production, that's probably what he's going to do. And that's the thing, guys. You take any of these experts, these fertility experts, and they'll tell you, because there's been doctors who discussed this in the past, and when people come off all this stuff, if their sperm count is low, they need a minimum of 90 days of frequent HCG therapy, and they have to stay off all the gear. And that's 90 days just to get your sperm count up enough to ensure that you can probably get somebody pregnant. So he's going to have to go through all that. It might take longer. It might take longer. Now, what's interesting enough, I had to ban his girl. His girl came in my comments yesterday, and she was talking all this smack. And I just hit the ban button. I should have replied, but it's kind of like, I'm concerned here because I don't think she's a good person. And the reason I say that, you guys remember that video clip I played of him making jokes about pedophilia? Like, he got up and was laughing about the fact that I personally was a victim of that as a child. It's public record, guys. I mean, I've testified and everything as an adult. There's public record of it. I'm not ashamed of that. But the thing is, to shame somebody for something like that, who's brave enough to come forward and talk about it and to make jokes about child molestation, and then she jumped in and joked with it too. Now, that's a bit of a concern for me, because again, people who would publicly in front of a camera, a couple, a man and a woman, who would both make jokes about child abuse and think it's funny and laugh about it, now want to have a kid. Now, that sounds a little bit scary. You guys know where I'm going with that. I'm a little bit concerned. I'm very concerned. Because again, that mentality, anyone who would think something like that is funny, those are people who are potential predators. I'd be very concerned that they're trying to have a kid. I feel bad for that kid, because again, the risk associated with that. So, the thing is, she came in here, she talked smack in my video, and that's what I want to say to her, Helena, or whatever her name is. You made jokes about pedophilia. You got no room to pretend like you're a good person. You and Callie both, you guys made jokes about that stuff. I don't think you should have kids. In fact, if you do, I think Child Protective Services needs to keep an eye on that. To me, that's a big red flag. Yeah, and I think everyone else needs to be aware of that too, because I did release that clip of them doing that. It was done in one of his videos. These people are trying to have a kid now. Guy's a multiple-time convicted felon, admits to have done all this illegal stuff. He does not have a good past. He does not have a good past. And people say, well, that's in the past. Well, he still brags about it. He was bragging about it right there. That snitching on himself was a brag. And then they make jokes about child abuse, and then they're going to have children. Let that sink in. I wonder what sort of life that kid's going to have. I don't know. Maybe I'm hoping maybe the HCG therapy won't work. That would probably be for the best. That's my take on it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.